What's up guys, Sagi here, and welcome to another Tech Gear Talk. Today we're going to take a look at the best lenses for the Canon M50 for photography and video. I'll tell you about each lens and why I have it on this list, I'll tell you when I like to use it, and we'll check out some sample images and video. In this video, I'm only including EF-M lenses, which are native to the M50's M mount, and hopefully I can help you choose a lens that will work great for you. Alright, so let's get started. And the first lens that I recommend to 99% of people who ask me is the Canon 15-45 f3.5 to 6.3 IS STM, which is commonly known as the kit lens. It's a standard zoom lens with a 24 to 72mm full frame equivalent field of view, which gives you a really nice range to work with. It's wide at the lower end to give you the ability to capture landscape, and it's a good option for street photography. And then it lets you zoom in when you want to capture more detailed shots or tighter portraits. It's also super compact and light, so it's a great lens to take with you when you're traveling or just a great walk around lens. For video, it's wide enough for handheld vlogging and versatile enough to use for different framing when shooting talking head or B-roll. Now when you see IS in a Canon lens, you know that the lens offers optical image stabilization, which in this case can work in tandem with the M50's digital image stabilization. It also works really well on small gimbals like the Zhiyun M2, which makes for an extremely powerful and portable stable solution. I did a detailed review of this gimbal in case you're interested in learning more about why I use it more than any other gimbal, so I'll link to that video up in the corner and in the description. Now, one of the limitations of essentially every kit lens is low light performance, and that's due to the variable maximum aperture, meaning that when I use this lens at 15, I can open it to f3.5, but when I zoom in to 45mm, the maximum aperture is f6.3. Now, a larger f-stop number means a smaller opening in the lens, which lets in less light. A smaller f-stop number means that the opening in the lens is bigger and lets more light in, which helps us get that blurry background or that shallow depth of field that we all like. If you're not overly familiar with this, I'm going to link to a video where I discuss buying your first lens, and I explain the basics behind each element of the lens. I do think it's important that you understand these basic concepts to understand why certain lenses are more expensive and whether or not you need to spend that extra money, so I highly recommend that you check it out. Now, the 15-45 uses 10 elements in 9 groups, as a 49mm filter thread, and a minimum focus distance of 9.84 inches or 25 centimeters. And this distance is measured from the sensor, not from the front of the lens. And in case you're ever curious about where the sensor is located on any camera, look for this symbol on the body. It's an external marker of the plane of the sensor. The lens is 2.4 inches or 60.9mm in diameter by 1.75 inches or 44.5mm in length and weighs in at 4.6 ounces or 130 grams. As far as the price, this lens sells for $299 if you buy it separately, but you can usually get it for just $20 more than the body if you buy it in the US. And by the way, if you don't live in the US and you're watching this video, let me know the price difference between just the body and the body with the kit lens where you live. And thank you in advance. Now, the next lens I want to discuss is the Canon 11-22 f4 to 5.6 IS. This is a great option for when you need an even wider angle of view than the kit lens. So instead of 15mm, we can now zoom all the way out to 11mm, which captures even more of the scene. If you're looking for the widest angle EF-M lens with autofocus and image stabilization, this is a lens that you want. You can easily handhold this lens when vlogging and you don't have to worry about your head getting cut off. The 11-22 gives us approximately an 18-35 full frame equivalent field of view, and the minimum aperture on this lens is f32. Again, for photos, we can capture a lot of the scene, which is actually great for when you want to get close to a subject, but still put it in context for the viewer. It's a good option for landscape and architectural photography, and at the same time, still works really well on a gimbal for video. Just like with the kit lens, we're still getting a variable maximum aperture, and we can only open up to f4 even at the widest angle. So we'll need to make sure that we have enough light, and we can just bump up our ISO to get a proper exposure. The minimum focus distance for the 11-22 is 5.91 inches or 15 centimeters, and it uses 12 elements in 9 groups. The lens is 2.4 inches or 60.9 millimeter in diameter, 2.29 inches or 58.2 millimeters in length, and it weighs in at 3.7 ounces or 105 grams. For $399, this lens gives you the widest angle of view of any lens on this list. So if you're working in really tight spaces or you want to capture as much as possible of the scene, this is definitely the lens that you should get. Now, before I move on to the next section, if you like what you've seen so far, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up. It helps me know what kind of content you like so that I can make more of it. And if it's your first time here, go ahead and hit the subscribe and notification buttons so you can stay up to date on all the latest gear and tutorials. All right, so let's move on. What if you want a wide angle lens for vlogging, but you want to get that shallow depth of field, or you need better low light performance? The first option is from Canon, and I'm talking about the 22mm f2. This is a super small lens. It's much more compact than the 11-22, and it's another great lens to put on a gimbal, which is important since it doesn't offer image stabilization. It's a prime, meaning that you can't zoom in and out, so you're at a fixed focal length of 22mm, and this lens has an aperture range of f2 to f22. And let's take a look at the difference we get when shooting wide open versus all the way closed up. You can see that we're getting much better separation from the background at f2, and of course this will also greatly help us when we're shooting in lower light. This lens has a minimum focus distance of 5.9 inches or 15 centimeters, so while we're getting a wide angle of view, we're still able to get pretty close to our subject and get some unique perspectives. Again, I want to highlight just how small and compact this lens really is. We're getting a 35mm full frame equivalent field of view, and it's a great lens to throw on and do some street photography with. I get a light setup that I can fit in my jacket pocket if I need to, and it's really a ton of fun to play around with, all for $249. Moving on, another great fast and wide option is the 16mm f1.4 DCDN from Sigma. This is one of my favorite lenses right now, and I use it with my M50 and my M6 Mark II, and I also use the E-mount version with the Sony APS-C mirrorless bodies like the A61, 64, and 6600. It's the first of 3 fantastic EF-M lenses from Sigma, and if you want a more detailed review of all 3, I'll link to my dedicated review up in the corner and in the description. Now, unlike the Canon 22mm, this lens is quite large for an EF-M lens and heavy. The image quality is absolutely spectacular, and we're getting an even wider angle of view at 16mm or 25.6 full frame equivalent. We're also getting a wider maximum aperture at f1.4 versus f2, but can only close the aperture to f16 versus f22 on the Canon, which isn't really an issue for me. Basically, we're getting another full stop of light, an even shallower depth of field with a wider angle of view, which is an awesome combo. This is probably my favorite street and urban exploration lens, and I love how much of the scene I'm able to capture with it, and I can even see using it for environmental portraits. Even though it's on the larger end, I can still get it to work on the Canon M2 and get outstanding stable footage. This is a big bonus, as again, we're not getting image stabilization in this lens. And even if we did, I don't really like the look of handheld footage, so whenever I want something to look more professional, I use a gimbal. At $399, I think it represents an outstanding value due to the optical performance, the wide angle of view, and the large maximum aperture. Now, the next 2 lenses that I'm going to talk about are pretty similar, so I'm going to soon publish a comparison to help you choose. The first is the 30mm f1.4 DCDN from Sigma. It's a pretty small lens at approximately 65mm or 2.5 inches in diameter, 73mm or 2.9 inches in length, and it weighs in at 265 grams or 9.35 ounces. It has a 52mm filter thread, a minimum focus distance of 30 centimeters or 11.8 inches, and there are 9 elements in 7 groups. This 30mm is a direct competitor to Canon's 32mm f1.4. The Sigma is a bit bigger and heavier and has a farther minimum focus distance at 30 centimeters versus 23 on the Canon. Both lenses have a maximum aperture of f1.4 and a minimum aperture of f16, but the Sigma currently sells for $289 versus $479 for the Canon. In my opinion, this lens is a steal. It will give you approximately a 48mm full frame equivalent field of view, which is a great alternative to using a nifty 50 on a full frame sensor camera. This is a very good lens for portraits and for talking head video, And what you're seeing here is being shot at approximately 30mm on an APS-C sensor. So now let's go to the direct competitor from Canon, the 32mm f1.4. This is probably the best lens that Canon makes for the EF-M mount at this time. It's super fast with an aperture range of f1.4 to f16. Again, it's a very good lens for portraits and for talking head video. You'll get that shallow depth of field, and it's a great option in low light. It has a 43mm filter thread, a minimum focus distance of just 23 centimeters or 9.3 inches, and there are 14 elements in 8 groups. This lens is 2.4 inches or 60.9mm in diameter, 2.22 inches or 56.5mm in length, and it weighs in at 8.29 ounces or 235 grams. The images and footage that you're going to get from this lens are super sharp and detailed. This is also one of the lenses that can take full advantage of the M6 Mark II's larger sensor, so it's definitely a lens that I get a lot of use out of. It's a great all-around lens with a 51mm full frame equivalent field of view, gives us beautiful shallow depth of field, and it's currently priced at $479. Now the next lens I want to discuss is the Sigma 56mm f1.4 DCDN, which is my favorite lens when it comes to shooting portraits with my M50. We're getting a full frame equivalent field of view of about 90mm, which is a very pleasing focal length for portraits, and it also helps provide some outstanding separation from the background. This lens currently has no counterpart from Canon. The closest you can do to get a similar field of view and speed is to use an EF to EF-M adapter and then pick up one of the 50mm options from Canon, the 1.8, 1.4, or 1.2. Now, as far as price goes, the Sigma 56 currently sells for $429, whereas the Canon EF-50mm f1.4 sells for $349. Now, of course, you'll also need to get an adapter, which is around $160 from Canon, but there are some less expensive third-party options. The 56mm has a very slightly larger diameter than the Sigma 30, which we talked about, and we're looking at 67mm or 2.9 inches. It's noticeably shorter at only 60mm or 2.3 inches, and it weighs in at 280 grams or 9.9 ounces. The filter thread size is 55mm, and we have 10 elements in 6 groups and a minimum focus distance of 50 centimeters or 1.64 feet. Just like with the other two Sigma lenses that I mentioned, we have an aperture range of f1.4 to f16, and I found this lens to be absolutely tack sharp. For portraits with my M50, this is definitely my go-to lens. I just love the image quality and the separation that I'm able to get from such a compact setup. So if you're interested in getting excellent performance for portraits, this is definitely the one that I would recommend. Okay, but what if you want more range? What if you want to photograph things that are farther away or zoom in closer for a sporting event or for wildlife? In that case, I recommend that you check out the Canon 55-200. This relatively compact and light telephoto zoom lens has surprisingly good optical performance given its size. We're getting image stabilization rated for 3.5 stops, which is great in a telephoto lens, and a full frame equivalent focal length range of 88 to 320 millimeters. And this is one of the times where the APS-C sensor works in our favor. The lens is 2.4 inches or 60.9 millimeters in diameter, 3.4 inches or 86.5 millimeter in length, and it weighs in at 9.17 ounces or 260 grams. We've got 52mm filter thread size, and the lens uses 17 elements in 11 groups, and there are 7 diaphragm blades. This versatile zoom lens works great for anything from portraits to sports, and then of course wildlife. For $349, I think it's a great value and it offers performance along with its still relatively small setup, which you'll appreciate on long hikes or when you're traveling. Moving on, we covered wide angle, standard, and telephoto zoom, and a few primes. But what about macro photography? Can you actually get good macro photos with an EF-M lens? For that purpose, I use my Canon EF-M 28mm f3.5 macro IS STM. This compact macro lens has a 44.8mm full frame equivalent field of view, and it sells for $299. Has a minimum focus distance of only 3.66 inches or 9.3 centimeters, and it has an integrated macro light LED to help illuminate close-up subjects without having to worry about the lens casting a shadow. The light can also be configured to illuminate the left or right sides only, or the entire frame to help you get the shot that you want. It's able to reproduce smaller subjects at a greater than life-size scale of 1.2 to 1 macro ratio. This lens has a filter size of 43 millimeters. It's 2.4 inches or 16.9 millimeters in diameter. It's only 1.79 inches or 45.5 millimeters in length and weighs in at 4.5 ounces or 130 grams. We've got built-in image stabilization, and the optical design incorporates an ultra-low dispersion element and two spherical elements to help reduce chromatic and spherical aberrations, as well as improve overall sharpness and clarity. I'm putting together a macro photography tutorial for the M50 using some of my favorite lenses, so let me know if that's something that you're interested in or if you have any specific questions. Okay, so that was my list of my favorite EF-M lenses for the Canon M50, and I'd like to know which one you'd want to add to your kit or which one is your favorite. Also, are there any other lenses that you like the 18 to 135 or the 18 to 55, or do you use some manual focus option or adapted lenses using the regular adapter or the speed booster? I'll have follow-up videos about all those topics, so I'd love to know in advance about some of your favorite combinations and questions. I think the M50 is a great camera when paired with some good lenses, and to this day it remains one of the cameras that I recommend the most. I'll put links in the description to where you can buy all the lenses that I talked about, as well as the M50 and some great kits. I really hope I was able to give you a good overview of my favorite EF-M lenses for the M50. If I did, please let me know by giving this video a thumbs up, tweet it, share it, and if you haven't yet, join the community by hitting the subscribe and notification buttons. You can always find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Tech Gear Talk. You know what I always say, buy it nice or buy it twice. Good luck and see you soon. I really hope that I don't drop this camera, is what I hope. Don't drop it. It's so little. Don't drop it. It didn't do anything to me. Or we can bump up IR, and it's a great lens to throw out. Yeah, just throw this lens out. I'm not doing well today. I'm struggling. The 15 to 45 is 2.4 inches or 60.9 millimeter in diameter. It's 1.75 inch. You guys hear that airplane? Hey, Sennheiser, did you pick that up? I don't know, you probably did. Now I have to record that section over again. Thanks a lot. Come on, let's focus here. Good. I think we're done. There was a lot. We talked about a lot of lenses, so hopefully you like it. Did you like it? I don't know. Let me know.